Hello everyone, this is Elena Georgiou. Welcome to my channel that brings you the latest news worldwide regarding abuse and trauma recovery. So if you want to be my guest, I will be happy to welcome you to my channel. Today we have a special guest. His name is John Anderson, and it's a pleasure to have you here, John. Welcome.
Thanks, Lena.
So before we start, John, I read something you posted on Facebook and I got inspired when I read it, and I want to share it with our viewers.
All
I am
right.
John Anderson. A warrant is key, and I will be exposing secrets kept. The reviews are amazing, and I'm about to make history, and I'm not seeking fame or fortune. What I want is to give the people a voice. The journey has been hard, but the intentions are humble and honorable to make this dream come true. And I must place one foot after the other. And life has been hard, but I will survive. This is my legacy and my destiny. And I will overcome all my flaws. I love it.
Mhm.
I got inspired, John, when I read it. Great.
Yeah, when you actually open up the whole thing and you stand back from it, it's actually the shape of a woman.
Wow. Yeah, right. It is.
Hmm.
It's incredible. So I
Thanks.
want you to share from the heart whatever you want to share. Introduce yourself and share your incredible journey, John. And
Hmm.
our viewers will be very happy to listen to your story.
Well, 43 years old and I'm still going through traumatic events, but I'm still trying to live through it all. Doesn't matter how old you get, sometimes crap just keeps happening and you still got to find a way of trying to cope with everything and deal with it all. And I'm still trying to find a lot of ways and trying to deal with it. Distraction is one thing, but it's really hard to when you've had a lifelong history of trauma, right?
Yes.
Sexually abused, sexually abused when I was 5 was one thing. And yeah, it was just a real hard childhood. And I didn't think that there was any purpose in life for the longest time, being involved in crime and stuff like that in my 20s, acting here and there, but not so much. I really started to think that I really did have some good talent when I started doing voice acting. And that's what kind of pulled me out of the dumps, is kind of finding something that fit me, I guess you could say. Something that could help distract my mind, something I enjoy doing. That's something that's like a hobby, right?
Yeah.
So that got me going. But I have severe post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm diagnosed with it. I've been prescribed tons of medications that just don't do anything. They don't do nothing. Just recently, almost 2 months ago, they prescribed me a whole slew of stuff that almost killed me, and it ended up me being in some hospital being monitored because of the way the medication was affecting me. Right. So I've been through a lot of stuff, and my level of severe post-traumatic stress disorder is just as severe as somebody that fought in like Vietnam, Kuwait, Desert Storm, that kind of stuff. I've seen a lot of stuff that no child should ever have to see. I was abused lots growing up, um, kidnapped for one day, and my kidnapper was trying to act like he was going to feed me to his dogs. I've been through a lot of stuff. And then to still, I have the problem of replaying everything every day, and it distracts my mind. It even comes between me and relationships. It's been hard for me to even hold down an actual relationship because of the shit that's just distracting me constantly. And then I find that I'm not as accepted because of what's wrong with me. And I'm sure that lots of other people can relate to that. People like to turn you away because you've got some sort of what they feel like is like you're too sad for them, or you're too depressed for them. If you, or they think of you as some plague because you just bring sadness upon them because you're sad. And so that's what I'm dealing with still at 43. And so I'm trying to put stuff together as hard as it is. It's even harder since this whole pandemic crap to get any film produced. But I want to put messages out there from not just me, but from other people that I don't know, positive stuff, that it doesn't matter what you go through. You can survive anything, right? And still keep going. And like here I am, still waking up, trying to pretty up my hair just to be on your show, right? Even
That's
even when I
right.
even when I feel like I'm at my lowest points and all that stuff, like every day is a challenge for people like me. It really is. It's a true challenge. And I know that everybody else that has to go through with dealing with severe post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, clinical depression, all that stuff, they got to deal with the same thing. But the hardest part is trying to deal with everything and but yet feel like you're rejected by everybody because of how you feel, and then feel like you're not lovable, and then have the panic like, are you ever going to find the right one in your life that's ever going to actually love you for who you are, even though you're shattered or broken,
Yeah.
right? And that's just where I'm at in life every day. And I'm trying to fight it all the time, trying to put documentary series together. Awareness is Key isn't the only one. There's another true story about a guy that raped my sister for so long, and that's a true story. And even that's becoming hard to put together because of everything I'm going through. And but yet I'm still here,
You're
and I thank God
here.
for that.
You're here, you're alive, and each day you wake up, it's a new opportunity door for you, and you should never give up. If you had a chance, John, to do something great in this world, what would you do? If somebody gave you the opportunity and said, John, you're going to do this, and what is that you want to do to change this world for the better?
Wake everybody up because so many people are asleep. They're just so busy thinking about themselves more than other people around them. They have more care for themselves and their own circle of life than they do for anybody else. It's so easy for people to push away other people just because they just don't like how the other person's feeling every day. So I'd like that's one thing that I would like to change, is just that, put more love in the world, more understanding,
And more
right?
compassion.
Right, and more compassion. You should never throw somebody away just because they're depressed or they feel sad, stuff like that. You should be there. Everybody should be there for each other, and that's one thing that this world's lacking, is that ability. And I know it's being squeezed out just because of mainstream crap and all this stuff, right? Love is actually fading away. People say nowadays they can look at each other and say, "I love you," and then the other person says, "I love you back." But nowadays it's just a word that they say before they say goodbye and go to work. There's no actual real intimacy behind the word you're saying. There's no real genuine love behind it. You know
Deep
what I mean?
connection, you mean? There's no deep
Right,
connection between them.
right.
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm. Everything is shallow, John, you know? We're just, there. I call these people, I divide them as people that are in the light or people that are in the darkness.
Hmm.
I divide these people and I say, oh, these are people that have true, deep love for each other, and people that are more, they care about their own selves. They don't care about anybody else.
Right. Like I don't know if you believe in I'm a Christian, so I believe in God, but I don't know,
Me too.
right? So I always believe that love should be pretty equal to, you know, God's love for mankind and all its creatures, right? And if you don't feel that love, then obviously there's something seriously wrong with you,
Exactly.
right? Like there's Christians that say, "Oh yes, I love you," and all this and that, but you know what? They really don't because I've watched Christians for the last 5 years or more just throw away their relationship because they don't like the other person's sadness or what they're going through, or you know what I mean. They just and to actually truly love somebody, you got to be there 100%. You got to take their hand, you got to guide them through. You don't give up, right? That's like saying, because if you give up, that's like saying, well, God gives up. And now, does God ever give up?
No,
God doesn't give up,
exactly.
right? So, well, when you got, it's even me personally, in the last, I had a relationship that was just the last 2 years, 2.5 years, and straight up Christian girl goes to church. I don't go to church on Sundays. I'm just so overwhelmed with things that it's really hard for me to even go. But I've noticed that she just doesn't have the same amount of love as I do, and I don't even as I don't even go to church, right? And then I've heard so many times in the last 2 years, I can't handle this. You're always too sad, you know. You need this medication, you need that, and then they give up on you because of you're just a sad guy. Well, obviously, I'm wondering, like, did she even love me in the first place? If it was so easy for her to give up, and that's just I'm using my relationship as an example because this is happening so much. So is
Yeah.
it
So people, John, people don't fight for love anymore. This is not happening now. I mean,
right?
they don't really fight for love. They just get in relationships because maybe they're afraid to be alone and they just want to have a relationship like everyone else. What do you think?
Well, it's that they also seem to they believe that what they feel of love is actual love, but it's really not. They've got themselves so incorrectly mentally programmed that it's not love that they're feeling. They just I don't know how to explain it. It's you don't give up on love. You're always there to fight for it, right? And you don't
Yeah, but
go
if it's the right person, if it's the right person, John, then they will both stay and fight for love. But if it's
right.
not the right person, then forget it,
Oh yeah,
right?
right. Exactly. But the people nowadays, though, they got to put more effort into relationships than what they're doing nowadays, because lots of people they just aren't. Because back in the 50s and 60s, families that actually did have a lot of good values, don't abuse, don't cheat, give real love, never give up on it. They had that. It was so real back then. Nowadays, you
Exactly.
just got nowadays infatuation is love to everybody. All they see is a body and something that tickles their insides, and they just want to get with that, or somebody that's got a fatter wallet. It's got
You
more
know,
money in
some
their
people,
pocket.
John, some people believe that true love is a myth. You know, there are a lot of people out there that they don't believe that true love exists. They think it's a myth. Just find somebody and have fun in life and that's it. What do you think about that? What do you think about true love? Does true love exist in this world?
It is if you try to keep it in this world. Those people that still have the ability to express true love, try to teach it to other people, well then yeah, they can keep it in this world, right? Other people can start to feel it, but it's fading away. It's almost non-existent at this point. But
You
true
know,
love is out there.
maybe there people are afraid to open up to love because they will be traumatized or had, lots of things going on in life and they haven't healed and they cannot open up. Maybe they're afraid or they don't trust anymore. They don't want to take risks. And maybe that's the deal. Maybe that's
Oh yeah.
why there's no love outside.
Oh yeah, because a lot of them, they've been hurt too much or they've been damaged so much. But then they gotta look at people like me, look at how damaged I am, and I still feel true love. So
Exactly.
it's almost like just an excuse.
Yeah.
Like true love is out there. You just gotta give it all you can in order to get it, right? You gotta give love as much as you can in order to actually truly find it, right?
Exactly.
Nobody with true, genuine love is gonna come up and find you if you don't express real love, because they're gonna see that and think that you don't have it, so they're gonna avoid you like you're the plague, right?
Exactly. And you know something, John? If somebody doesn't love, like if I don't love myself that much, how can I share love with somebody? That's why relationships are fading. Maybe people do not love themselves that much. What do you think about this?
I've seen
About
people that don't love.
self-love?
I've seen people that don't love themselves. Like a few times in my life, I've seen about three or four really down, depressed women, maybe about a fistful of men that just don't love themselves. But as soon as they came across somebody that genuinely, because they know how to love, but they just don't love themselves. But when they met somebody that's very loving, very caring, very compassionate, it snapped them out of it. It's
Yeah.
made them start to love themselves more because they realize, well, hey, I don't love myself, but this person right here is showing so much love for me. So there's got to be a lot of good things about me and a lot of good qualities, because look at how much this person's in love with me. And then they start to love themselves more,
Yeah,
right?
if they do, that's good. That's good news, John. But if they don't, if they still do not love themselves, then the other person that's giving love is going to get tired, you know? So we need to
Mm,
put some work, do some inner work for ourselves to be able to, be able to share, first find love inside of us and then share it with somebody else.
because I gave up on somebody, and then she ended up, her body was found in Stanley Park. And this is when I was like 19, 20 years old. She was really depressed. She watched her mother kill herself, and she didn't like herself at all. And I lived in New Westminster at the time in Vancouver, and I let her go out, and she never came back. And then her body was found like 2 days later. So somebody ended up picking her up and ended up raping her and killing her, right? But yeah, yeah, and that that traumatized the shit out of me.
Exactly. So yes, we have to do some work with ourselves and love ourselves more, and then go out to find someone for relationships, right?
Right. And but there's the other thing is that there's a lot of fake people out there too that'll just try to say they love you because they want something that you can offer them, or and you got to learn how to filter these kinds of behaviors so you can kind of figure out who's who in this world of a fake loving zoo, because there's so many people that'll fake love because they want to get whatever they can out of you, and they'll siphon and siphon and siphon, whether it's money or whatever they can out of you, objects, anything that you can give them. And then once
Or
they
maybe
feel like they got enough,
kindness. Maybe they're abusing your kindness or your caring or whatever you're giving them.
Right.
Maybe it's not money, maybe it's you as you and all the love you're giving. And they're just abusing this. But you know something, John, if someone knows what exactly wants to attract in their life, and I think he will attract that he wants, right?
Hmm.
What do you think about this?
Mm, I think that if you sit around thinking that you've lost all hope and that you're not going to meet the right person, chances are you're probably not, because you're just hoarding yourself up inside your house and you're not going to meet anybody doing that or feeling that way. You got to be confident in yourself and know that, you know, just never give up. True love will find you. I find that it's better when you don't go searching for it
Exactly.
and just
Because
let
if
it
you
find
go
you.
searching for it, you will attract the wrong person. But if you let love
Right.
come and find you, and what I do to myself is self-love, and I focus on myself, on my project, on my dreams, and I think people should do that instead of, feeling the luck that you don't have somebody in your life. It's better, to feel full because there are people that love you around you. Isn't that, John? Maybe it's your friends, maybe it's your network, maybe your family. What do you think about
I've been
this?
I couldn't even tell you anything about that. I'm so busy. I actually have very limited any social friends in my life right now because for years since 2009, my whole entire life has been online, and it took me away from a lot of things. I was focused on exposing sexual predators for the longest time, starting Bikers Unite Against Child Abuse here in Canada, and that distracted me. And so I never really had any time to meet new people or to even really have a social life. And the other thing is I don't drink, I don't do drugs. And so going to a bar and being social is out of the question. I don't like those kinds of places. But if I run into somebody at a store, and we exchange numbers that way, the old fashioned way,
Hmm.
that's the way I'll go. But I don't
But
really
you're
have that much.
focusing on your work, I mean. You're focusing on your work, you're doing what you love,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I've kind of I kind of stopped a little bit because of the woman that I was with, I was really happy with and just so distracted. But now I got to get back to the drawing board and get things done.
Back to the
For
blackboard.
Yeah,
Back to the
back to the
blackboard again.
blackboard. Yeah, back to the blackboard. Yeah. And so that's my plan. Get my shit together and just start fresh, start over. But then, doing what I do too, you get lots of messages. Oh, hey, John, you're so hot, and are you single? And a lot of these women, they gotta be, I don't know if they're messed up or what.
Wow, that's good. So
Well,
you're kind of popular. That's good, but you already know now what's best for you.
right.
Exactly. So you want to share any future plans you have with our viewers, what you're planning to do or what you're working on?
I just want to keep making shows that encourage people to not remain silent when evil has been, when something's been done to them or a child. Because a lot of the problem is I'm trying to open up everybody's eyes that when you remain silent after something's been done to you, or you're you're enabling the abuser or whatever the evil person is to continue doing more evil. So silence is something that we can't tolerate anymore if you want to make change. In order to make change, you can't stay silent. I was molested when I was 5. I stayed silent, and another boy got molested. So if I didn't stay silent, that other boy wouldn't have been molested. And that's just what I'm trying to teach people is that, if you stay silent and you know that, speaking up could put an end to stuff and you still remain silent, then that kind of technically makes you no better than the actual abuser themselves. You're just as evil. And so I'm trying to create this wave of people that still have yet to speak up, to start speaking up about this stuff because things in this world are changing. It seems to be favoring evil. So the more we talk up and speak up against it, the more we can slow evil down and the more we can actually encourage change within the system. And I mean this on a global scale, not just in our countries. Abuse, sexual abuse, human trafficking, child trafficking. It's happening every day and it's happening everywhere. And if you stay silent, you know, you're just letting this stuff spread like a virus.
Exactly. And when you shared your story and you exposed everything that happened to you, how did you feel, John?
When I started to share it,
Yeah.
I felt better. Lots of people came out and said, "Oh, I was molested too, almost the same way, and I stayed silent. I shouldn't have." I got a lot of feedback. Lots of people saying thanks. I feel like the a weight's been lifted. I've heard that one a lot. Is that after they've spoken up, they feel like a huge weight has been lifted,
And it
which is
helps in
true. It does.
healing. It helps in
Yeah,
healing also.
right. Because I remember after I was sexually abused, it damaged me for years. I never had friends because I thought everybody could tell I was sexually abused. I was like, doesn't matter where I go, people are staring at me and I'm like, oh my gosh, they can tell I was sexually abused. That's why they don't like me, or and it's all going. I went through so much crap because of this,
I
and
know.
pe- people got to change and realize that it's not like that. And I believed it was like that for years. And I used to hide myself. I'd be in my back of my parents' car, be driving by kids that I went to school with, and I ducked down so they didn't see me. That's how traumatized I was as a kid. I'd hide.
Yeah, but you got out of this after you
Mm,
shared your story and you felt safe about it.
yeah, but with what I do though, telling my story, that's a fine and dandy. But what I decided to take on was other people's stories. Now, taking on other people's stories isn't as as glorifying as people think because I'm listening to their stories and having to replay my story at the same time that I listen to theirs. So by trying
Exactly.
to help people and creating these shows comes a great sacrifice. All right. Which means I'm sacrificing myself and my current well-being just so that I can help them have a voice
Exactly.
because of what I went through. And people don't understand that. But now I'm sure that once they see this, they're gonna see that, John's right. He's been through so much crap and he still listens to everybody else's story since 2009. And imagine how many times he's had to relive his past all over again, all the traumatic events that he's had to go through so many times, like a broken record. And
Exactly.
so but I believe that, maybe I'm a chosen one. Maybe God's, because I'm strong. I can, I have that ability to take on other people's problems and still replay my issues and replay my childhood, replay my life. Maybe that's what's needed is somebody strong enough to be able to continue to do this kind of stuff. It keeps me sometimes in that depressive realm, but if it helps somebody how get their story out there and it helps them feel better, then my it bringing me down to a sad level for a little bit is worth the sacrifice as long as it helps somebody else.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Do you want to share your message to our viewers, John, before we close up?
Don't give up, no matter what your head's telling you. There's always good and evil fighting for your soul, but always remember that God never gives up on you, and neither do those that truly, genuinely love you. And there are people that do care. I'm one of them.
That's a great message. Thank you very much, John, for being here in my channel. And thank you to our
You're welcome.
viewers for listening to us. And see you soon in another edition.
All right.
Bye,
Thank
John.
you. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you very much.